Pacific Rim. What this movie is about is there's some kind of portal that opens up in the bottom of the ocean. Through this portal, these unbelievably huge giant monsters start to emerge. The nations of the world gather together, pool their resources, and they begin to create these giant mechs. And one of the things I like about the storyline with this movie is in different times, whether it was a mech animes or mech video games, somebody might say, well, what is the purpose of making this giant machine in the size of a person, of a humanoid figure? What is the purpose for that? And what this movie does is it gives you a good reason from these giant monsters for the purpose of these machines being shaped like giant human beings. And the basic purpose is that the mech pilots, and it said in the movie, the people that tend to make the best pilots are people that have good fighting skills. And by having this suit be in the shape of a human or a humanoid figure, the mech pilot's able to effectively translate their fighting skills into the robot. Just very good. I mean, it works. It's not super deep like Inception or anything, but the storyline works for what it is. It makes sense of what's going on. I mean, some of the different things they pull in, like there's a thing called the drift where two minds are put together because it's found out that one human mind cannot control the robot without having some kind of damage done to the brain. I mean, just the way it's explained, it's done well enough so you just accept it. It just makes sense. It also was interesting how it makes it even more of it being an important reason for why the mech pilots have to work together and why they have to have a good relationship together, trust each other. Just absolutely excellent movie. If you like movies, you want to see. There's movies that I consider movies that you watch because they're okay, or there's even movies that are spectacular, but they're not movie theater movies. The movies where you would be fine watching thing at home. Pacific Rim, just to grab the massive scale of it. This is one of the movies you should go to the movie theaters and see. One of the things that was amazing about this movie was that if the names Armored Core, Front Mission, Cybernator, Tranzor Z, Gundam, Mech Warrior, Hawken now, Titanfall, if those names mean anything to you, then you will love this movie. I grew up watching Robotech. Was absolutely obsessed with it when I was a kid. I went to Robotech conventions. I built BattleTech little models when I was a kid. Just growing up watching and dreaming of this mech bay. I remember the model kits. There was a little mech bay that you put together, and I just thought that was so cool, that mech bay, the whole thing of them preparing to get the mechs ready in these different, whether it was model kits, whether it was different video games, Front Mission, Armored Core, all those type of things. Basically what this movie does is this movie brings all of those things and puts it in front of your eyes in an unbelievable, satisfying way. The detail and design of the mechs, the detail and design of the mech cockpit, the detail and design of the suits, the little artificial display that pops up on the hands, the way that when they go to pick up something, they can kind of see like an image of what they're picking up. I think is how it worked. Just little designs that I had dreamed of in my head. And there was a movie years ago called Robot Jocks, and for the longest time, this old movie was like the only thing that I could think of when it really came to seeing a movie that was actually about mechs. I mean, there's been little mechs here and there. Back in the day was the construction walker thing and Aliens, and then more recently in Avatar it was the mech suits. But this movie is about mechs. This movie is about the mech bay, the mech pilots. Some of the things that will made that little teeny bit of hair on my head try to stand up when I saw it. Some of the things that will do that to you is when you sit there and you see one of the mechs go and basically does a rocket punch, and rockets are shooting out of its elbow, and you see it sitting there going to punch the creature that's fighting. Other things that'll get you is when they sit there and there's a scene in the movie where they're in a bad situation, and to get out of this bad situation, what do? They activate a mech sword. You see the mech sword come out, and the mech sword forms. Of course, they use the mech sword, slash the creature. All of you guys have been watching mech animation for years. I'm telling you, when you see that, I challenge you not to smile when you see these different things happening. Just so many different things for mech lovers. That if you love the rockets on the back of the mechs, the movement of the mechs, the massive scale of them, the way the mech and the mech cockpit work together. I mean, this was a newer thing for this movie, but just very cool. I mean, it's like Gil del Toro, who took this movie and put it together. You can tell that this guy likes mechs. It probably was. I would assume he's watched a decent amount of mech animes. Maybe he's a front mission player. Just a lot of things in there to love that they put in there. People have complained about the different personalities of some of the different mech pilots, about it being stereotyped. I don't know. It reminded me so much of a mech anime. So, for you people who want to see a good movie, go see Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is a very good movie. However, for you people that, again, names like Front Mission, Mech Warrior, Armored Core mean something to you. Cybernator back in the day, Metal Warriors, names like that. If those names mean something to you, you need to see this movie, because for you people, you will love this movie. You will absolutely love this movie. Robotech fans, Gundam fans, this is your movie. Hollywood has actually made a movie for you. This movie's about the mechs. The mechs aren't a side thing, or not just something put in there. This movie is about the mechs.